Hello, everybody. My name's Josh. That's Tom. You see the score on the board there, you know. So Super Bowl happened. We gave it a little while just to let like the media talk and everything like marinate a little bit. It's been almost a week, but Tom, I'll let you start, man. Let's see what you thought about the game and everything.
It was really a game, but I
Right,
mean,
halftime show was like the most entertaining part of the first half. Let me stop. It was the other beatdown.
dude, that was bad, man. That was definitely one of the probably since like the Legion of Boom D Super Bowl where you're just like, I am bored.
And
This
I'm
game
gonna
was
defend because I saw a lot of people trying to act like Peyton Manning in that game was the reason they were bad. No, that was totally different. The receiver, no, see, people, you gotta watch the game. I'm not saying Peyton Manning was good in that game because he wasn't, but the whole team got intimidated. That first play was the second play. Cam Chancellor came up and just decked Demarius Thomas, and everybody on their team would look scared because they were like, "Oh my God, they are hitting people." I remember that game. Don't do it. Ain't the same reason why they. We'll get into that, but go ahead, Tom. I'll let that go.
yeah,
The
no, it's
excuse train
no,
was
it was
out.
just I mean, that was Mahomes. That was actually in the past since 1999. There's three other quarterbacks that had a worse performance when you look at expected points per play.
Hmm.
Rich Gannon, right, and Kerry Collins.
And they both played.
That is Patrick Mahomes.
And they both
Dude,
played.
dude, that was. There's a lot of factors to it, right? The
Hmm.
Chiefs played. This is your third consecutive Super Bowl. That's a lot of
A lot of
extra
football, yeah.
games.
Yep.
You know,
Hundred
you
percent.
also, quite frankly, they are that talented. I think this is actually more condemning to the Ravens and Buffalo of why the hell you can't beat this team.
Yeah. No. 100%.
Um, More damning, I guess. Like just like I would argue, like, dude, their coaching staff just don't. Those coaching staffs don't get it,
No. No.
and also how
100%.
good the Chiefs coaching staff really is.
No. 100%. 100%.
But
100%.
the takeaway I have is number one, Philly's front four, the front seven in general was just good. They got to pay a lot of guys, so we're gonna find out real quick. Are they gonna be able to do that? Um, Obviously, Mahomes is the Chiefs are in the same boat too. But the thing I'll say, and what I was really disappointed in, man, is how the NFL props up Patrick Mahomes like he is as good as Tom Brady. Tom Brady never did that. His worst performance was in 2001, his first Super Bowl. And he's still in like the top 15 quarterbacks, or the top 15 Super Bowls in terms of how well he played. Mahomes looks scared from the start. I'm putting it all on him, man, because he's this $500 million player. The NFL props up as this amazing player. It was pathetic
And the
across the
Eagles
board, man. Him and honestly Travis Kelce, man, go
looked
watch
old.
that
He
film of
looked
him
old.
standing around. That guy
No.
does not want to be there.
No, he don't want to play
He
anymore.
is he is done, man. And honestly, that's just pathetic to have on a championship stage a guy just standing there.
Yeah, that was
Like
bad.
I'm just they got what they deserved. They got what was coming to them. I think. Is their window closed? I don't know. The AFC, I think, they got four top teams that know each other and they just beat each other.
Yeah.
The NFC is such a juggernaut in terms of just everybody kind of beats up on everybody, and then it's like who's left standing. So, but
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think that could potentially be the end of Kansas City's run. So,
Yeah. No.
I'll leave it at that.
I agree with Tom. I think Mahomes made it where the Eagles never had because the Chiefs defense didn't play terrible. They just because it didn't start getting crazy till the pick six, and
Mm-hmm.
then it snowballed when they did the play. Great play call by the way by their coach Steph going for the like throat when they threw to Devontae Smith. But he never made them in an uncomfortable situation.
Have
Jalen
you
Hurts
have
and
you seen the NFL films thing of Sirianni just going, "We get this, it's over."
yeah, man.
Yeah, I love it, man.
That was a great call and just take him down and end it and everybody. I know what everybody's gonna do. You're gonna go to his stats at the end of the game and you're gonna tell me how look he wasn't that bad. They didn't score. until there was like a minute left in the third quarter. They did not care. The defense, they put in their backups. Kenny Pickett played a whole quarter in that game. Okay, just saying, guys. And I'm exaggerating. I don't believe it was a whole quarter, but it was pretty much the whole fourth quarter. It was like 12 minutes or whatever into it. Like, come on, man. I'm like, guys, this wasn't a game. It was 40-6. Not even. It was 40-0. They let off the gas. They beat the hell out. And I love their game plan. They knew they could get up the middle pressure. The two edge guys contained until Mahomes started. They knew Mahomes always liked to move up in the pocket. Then they looped back around and got him every time because he would run right into their lap. And they were just like, ha-ha, sack, ha-ha, sack, ha-ha, sack. They had him. They figured it out. They were like, hey, we got him. That's all we got to do. It was really great game plan. Jalen Carter, and what I love, did you see it, Tom? C.J. Gardner-Johnson, what's his name? Jalen Carter, all of them. Travis Kelce tried to get them to do the things the Ravens don't know how to do, where you don't play into their crap. They just sat there when Kelce started his stuff and just like looked at him like, all right, whatever. I'm not getting involved in. I'm not getting a penalty. No. And I want to give credit to Jake Elliott. I gave him crap before this game, and he showed up. That man was booting that ball. I respect my man. You made 2 kicks like 4 times because they kept. By the way, I thought that was a little weird that you were calling it on their center. I don't know, Tom. Maybe you know. Maybe it should have been called on their center. I thought that was on the Chiefs.
It's the head bob thing.
Okay.
They're trying to. It doesn't. Yeah, dude. I mean, I do gotta say, dude, that first PI, OPI.
That was bad, yeah.
Like, the NFL, I'm sorry, man. Like, you may try to not be, like, biased to the Chiefs, but, like, your optics are terrible.
It is. You gotta do better. That's not smart.
Like, dude, he literally was just hand fighting OPI. Right. Defender can't do that all day, but on offense, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Right. No, for real. It's wild, man.
Dude, there were some. I mean, and that's what I love too. Is everyone, like all the Mahomes fans, are complaining when he got that strip sack or stripped, and then he got nailed. You know what? He deserved that for all the no calls he gets.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that hard.
And DeAndre Hopkins, look, I love DeAndre Hopkins, but what are you talking about after the game? He threw you a ball in that game that you should have caught. I don't know what the hell that was. I'm like, dude.
That was a big momentum turner. It was a big moment for him for once. You know, it's been a long time since he won a title in
but
Clemson.
it's like why are you going on there and you gotta like self-awareness, my man. Like your team gets a lot of calls. The team you're on gets a lot of calls, and you're gonna go up there like, did you see? No, you picked the wrong game. What are you talking about? The game's 40-0 in like the end of the third. And you're talking about. You say nothing about those calls. Yeah, because even if you give you a couple calls, you ain't winning that game. I'm just saying.
I mean, when he dropped that ball, that was huge. I mean, that was like, it's done.
Well, dude, I didn't get the effort.
He was wide open.
I didn't get the effort. He put like one hand out. Dude, catch the ball. What are we doing?
He tripped. It was so weird. He I've never seen that. Like, he just tripped over himself. I'm like, dude, this is like a pro athlete.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It just felt like, you know, and I gotta get on the NFL media for this too. The 67 Packers, or the 65 to 67 Packers were the last team to three-peat.
Yep.
I am so tired of hearing about, they didn't have as many teams. You know how hard it is to win 3 anything in a row like that? It's really hard.
Dude,
Stop.
And
it's the same. I think the other team to do it was the 29, or the 30 through 33 Green Bay Packers.
Dude,
you know what? It's hard.
It's getting.
And back then, it's even harder because these guys aren't paid pros. They just go back home.
Oh, and you could mutilate the offense. It would beat the hell out of them. There was no penalty. Your quarterback got freaking killed. Night Train Lane was like grabbing people's face masks and slamming them.
Yeah, dude, all these teams though, they went through drama. They had things too, you know. And Tom, the thing is, they didn't have free agents. They had to develop these players.
Tom, I believe me and you had this discussion a while like. This is when we were like teenagers, but Tom made a good point. I remember because it's like Don Hudson, and it's like his stats, and it's like, oh well, yeah. I don't disagree. I don't go back on what I said. I think the athletes are better now, but it was a different game, a lot tougher. You had to be a lot tougher back then.
Let that man train like they get to train now.
Well, dude.
Like the one thing you can't deny from like 100 years ago is God-given talent. And dude, Don Hudson was one of the fastest humans on this earth.
Well, dude, it's not even just that. You're right. The training would be way better, and he would eat better and everything. But it's also like the game's a lot safer for him now. He's not getting freaking like destroyed, and they're not calling penalties on anything back then. Now it's like, oh, you mean they can't hit me?
Well,
that's pretty nice.
No, well, the way I look at it, Josh, is if you go look at Don Hudson's like touchdown record, how long that stood the test of time. You know, and I get it. Like, he was just so unique and a unicorn. He was so fast.
Well, let's go.
And NFL teams they couldn't stop him. I mean, it's crazy. Like, Don Hudson has like 99 touchdowns.
Yeah, that is wild.
Touchdowns, and it's like still top 10 in the NFL.
Tom, think about this.
Players can't do that anymore. They won't anymore because how specialized.
Look at the
running. Crazy.
Look at the running backs. You like Jim Brown was a freak athlete. You don't think he would be good now when all the rules like help him get a bunch of little linebackers out there? That motherfucker would be rolling people. It'd be like this little fucking.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Oh yeah, man. Exactly. Like, you can't deny greatness. I'm tired of the conversation of people trying to say like, yeah, they're different eras of the NFL. Don't get me wrong.
And dude, I think football is different too in the fact that it's not like these other sports where I can argue they've gotten more difficult as far as like the rules, some of them, and everything. This is not football was, especially offensively, those poor players back in the day, my God, they were doing this with all the rules like, hey, you can beat us up. Mel Blount used to just tackle the receivers at the line, bro. Like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah. Well, I think what's even crazier.
And I love Mel Blount. I'm just saying.
These guys again. They went home in the off season to
their
regular jobs.
Yeah, firemen.
Bars, ran car dealerships. Yeah. They weren't paid millions of dollars. They did it for the game. And the thing is, they honestly like the one that again, Bart Starr has the highest passer rating in the playoffs. And to your point, in an era, I mean, he played in an ice bowl where the ball and the field were frozen solid. Yeah. And still led probably one of the greatest drives when you think of elements, all that stuff.
Well, here's what someone was. I think Terry Bradshaw was saying it at one time too. What you gotta give these quarterbacks too back then was they have a fucking headset in their head. They had to call these plays at the line, and set it. They were the offensive coordinator, bro. They were like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna run this." You're not gonna give them credit for that. They ain't got some motherfucker in there. Hey, run 6W5 trap left side. You know, he's over there like, "Yo, run this play, bro. I got you." It was like when Johnny Unitas brought him down in '58 against the Giants. It's like that was him and Lenny Moore and Raymond Berry all doing their thing, man. Like that's back then. It was like literal like ball. Like you had to. It was you and your boys. Like, hey, the coach did his thing during the week, but then it was like he's out there like you had to come to the sideline to get plays. It was. It was
dude. Yeah, man. Like
I'm just tired of the goalpost moving. I'm not even saying Mahomes can't be the GOAT, but you guys wanted to just push his ass in front of Tom Brady. Tom Brady that's part of Tom Brady being the GOAT. He was winning at like 45, regardless if he would have won a Super Bowl or whatever. He was winning in his 40s. He beat him twice in his 40s, one of them in a Super Bowl. By the way, the one everyone just like acts like never happened because you just like, oh, well, his line was terrible. This is what I don't like. I think we talked about this before. This is what I don't like about that Super Bowl. I'm not saying Mahomes didn't like make superhuman effort on plays, but what I don't like on those plays is we always go, well, we hit the guy in the face mask. Do we gloss over the fact that on like the one that Tyreek Hill went through like 3 defenders' hands, like by 3 defenders, like they couldn't pick that if they would have put their hands up at the right time? You gotta be fair. It's always a hit them in the face mask. I'm like, well, didn't it go by like 3 people? Like, I mean, they could have tipped it on both of them. Could have picked both of them. They didn't. Like, what are we talking about?
I just love, like, they were showing on, like, NFL films, like, the sound bites. They had the Chiefs going, hey, guys, the Patriots can do it, we can do it. It's like, you can't. Exactly. Like, dude, Tom Brady, like, the thing is, dude, he did whatever it took to win. I didn't see Mahomes checking the runs. It's like, dude,
James White won player of that. James White was amazing in that game because Tom Brady said, "Listen, you're not giving him any respect here. I'm gonna keep giving him these draw plays until you do something." He did it to win the game.
That's the thing with Andy Reid that always is like why he's second tier to Belichick. In like mine, when I think of like greatest coaches of all time, I mean Belichick's up there with Bill Walsh. Like Bill Walsh changed the game. Bill Walsh will always be my number one. Because he was just like, I don't think people
yeah.
understand like culturally what he did to the
No, I
NFL
agree.
and like that
I agree.
organization, and also just like, I mean, it's just incredible. And
Dude, I agree.
a lot of what good organizations do now come from him and his tree, right? You know, you think of Mike Holmgren, who's going in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He
We'll
totally
talk about
changed
that
the
next.
Packers, but then he went to Seattle and did the same dang thing.
And he made the Super Bowl with Matt Hasselbeck.
They should have won it.
Yeah. Yeah, the
You want to
Steelers
talk
were
about
terrible.
refs being biased? There was one.
The Steelers were terrible in that game. They were. And no offense to the Steelers. Hey,
The Steelers were good, but they weren't that good.
no, their receivers were their best players. Like Ben was still kind of meh. He was still like young.
You know, it's really interesting when you think about it. Looking back, like, so they got to play Seattle, which they should have lost. Then they got to play Arizona.
They should have lost.
Arizona was awful.
Yeah, they should have lost that game though, because Larry Fitzgerald was on one. That was about
like everybody talks about how those Pittsburgh Super Bowls, but were they actually any good?
No, yeah, true.
I don't know. I mean, they made it. Like,
Dude,
you can't argue that.
Dude, you know what this also tells you too, that we have to start being more, and this is the QB bias that I always tell you about. Even look at the Ravens last year. Teams that make it far and win these games have defense does win championships. You go through the history when those defenses are rolling. They're where you see the lopsided Super Bowls too, because the one team has just this ridiculous defense and they dictate the game right away. They're just like, hey, you ain't. They let you know from the beginning. Speaking, I'm gonna go to it now. That Denver Super Bowl they're talking about, or the Legion of Boom, they came out there the first two plays. Remember, Denver got the ball. And they beat them up. They were like, "Yo, this ain't record-setting team, right?" They're like, "Nah, you ain't doing that to us. We gonna hit you. You gonna feel it today." And Tom, I vividly remember it.
Right, man.
I was watching that game, and I told everybody as soon as I saw the way after Chancellor came up and smacked Demarius Thomas, and I saw how Wes Welker and what was his name, Eric Decker and Peyton Manning, they all looked at each other like, oh shit, like, oh, like, this is different. Like they're out here just like they're rolling, they're coming downhill, like, we gonna smack you. You might catch a bunch of passes, but you ain't dancing. You won't be feeling it today. No extra yards.
Well, that's the thing though with all these finesse teams. Like when the Denver Broncos won, right? They had
tough
arguably
defense.
One of the best defenses in the Super Bowl era.
I'm telling you, man.
I mean, that 15 Super Bowl was great when you had Carolina's defense versus Denver's. Like, it was just pure physicality, right? Another one, honestly, Carolina should have. If there's a couple
Coney
calls that went the right way, you could argue they would have won that
Tom,
one,
I know you remember this.
Denver, again, it was a running game that was balanced. Like, dude, Mahomes, they just abandoned the run after like 3 times. They're like, no, we're good. We can't do this.
They did.
And what's insane is they were paying, so the one guy, the guard Smith, that guy had a terrible game against Carter. And he's like an all-pro guard.
He did. Humphrey didn't play well either.
Everybody keeps talking
Humphrey didn't play well either. He didn't.
Everybody keeps talking about their tackles, and I'm like, yeah, the problem is Mahomes couldn't step up. And also, too, like, again, like, they rushed 4. They did exactly what, like, Green Bay Joe Barry would do. Hey, we're going to play cloud coverage. We're not going to let you beat deep. And the thing is, like, it doesn't matter how fast Worthy is. If it takes you 3-4 Mississippi to get open against that front 4, you're going to lose every time.
Well, not only that, the picks he threw, like, I'm sorry, guys, like, especially the first one. Dude, I was watching a game, and I looked at my wife. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, don't throw that. Don't throw. I was like, oh, my God, it's pick. Because you could see they were in zone, and when they're playing zone, they're all staring at you. So if you throw across your body like that, they're going to pick it across the field. There's someone in the middle waiting. And Cooper DeJean called it like a punt. He was like... Because he was probably like, he ain't going to... I guarantee you he was sitting there like, he ain't going to throw this. And when he threw it, he was probably like, oh, well, thanks, bud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to show you, too. I mean, I think this is the thing that, you know, everybody, like, this postseason, Travis Kelce and quote-unquote playing better. But, like, I think people really don't realize Travis Kelce has aged a lot.
He has. He's slow.
He is slow, and he looks... Look, he's taken a lot of hits. He's played for, like...
Oh, I'm not even hating on him. He's a Hall of Famer. But I'm just like, it's... You know, you get old. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like the only talent they really have, I like Worthy.
I do.
He
I do too.
played. He's he's going to be a solid receiver, but he's just kind of a barn burner. He's not really.
Yeah, I want to make it clear though, like, and I really thought, and I even told Tom, I even texted him, I was like, he played really well in this game. I liked his how he played for a Super Bowl. He was making catches, he was doing good, but let's also be fair, they didn't score till the end of the third. The Eagles took their foot all the way off the gas. I just got to be fair. They were like,
Oh
who
yeah,
cares?
oh yeah. No, they had their twos in when he scored that deep one.
Yeah.
I mean, he did come like that one comeback in the end zone. He came back to the ball real well, and then he made a couple big time catches early in the game to like start getting them first down. So it was.
I like Mahomes.
Like I said, Mahomes looked scared from the second play. And I was just like, why?
Well,
like, why are you so jittery? Are you just shocked that people can touch you and breathe on
that's
you?
the thing. That's the thing with the Tom Brady thing that I don't want to see. Because here, let's go back to the Atlanta Super Bowl. I remember Tom texting me when they were down, being like, that would be funny if they came back. So even Tom was like, he was at like a party. He lived in Rochester at the time. He said all his like friends were Bills fans, and they were like, yeah, let's go. Tom was like, be careful, because it was like Gabriel. Remember Gabriel, and it was telling Mohamed Sanu, he was like, bro, that's Tom Brady, bro, and he was like, I don't know about all that. It's like, calm down. And then they came back, because like Tom said, it is a team effort. And you ain't gonna tell me Kansas City's defense, they were playing pretty good in that game. You guys can all like make fun of them. They were stopping. They got a pick, for Christ's sake, in the beginning of the game when they were already up 7-0. Tried to flip the game, and what Mahomes do? Oh, 2 minutes left in the first half. What's he do? He throws a pick to ice the game basically at the 10-yard line. It didn't set his feet. Set your feet, dude. That's why Braun picked it. You threw it like 3 yards behind the guy, and he picked it. Like, come on.
He was getting hit too, but yeah, I mean, no. To your point, like Mahomes is paid again. You're paid $500 million, bro. Just like I don't have any sympathy for you. You know, you're supposed to be like, again. Tom Brady never made that money.
And even the Super Bowl Tom Brady won because of the Malcolm Butler pick. In that fourth quarter, he scored 14 points on one of the best defenses you'll ever see. So he stepped up when you needed him.
Josh, people forget that 14 Seattle team too. That defense was still good.
Yes.
It wasn't as good.
Still really good.
Dude,
he threw that.
Everyone in the Super Bowl was like, New England's in trouble. And I mean, I remember as a Packer fan, that one sucked. And I was like,
they should have been there, yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Russell Wilson threw a stinker, and the Packers defense kicked their butt in that game. I don't even know how to. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, and here you are now. Anyways, dude, he got beat up, and look what happened. They still were able to,
Dude,
well, and like that was honestly where I noticed how tough Julian Edelman is.
Yes.
He was just getting.
Well, Amendola too, dude. Like, don't get me wrong.
But then people forget too. This is when Gronk was still in his prime.
Oh yeah, big Gronk.
Prime Gronk. Again, just the dude was just unbelievable.
And I'm not trying to. And
that's all you need, man. Is just honestly in this NFL anymore. You just need some guys who like. That's honestly where I give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit, dude. He was throwing out the.
Yeah, he was.
He was throwing on the outside.
How about the deep ball? It was beautiful. Oh my God, he hit that.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know why everybody counts that man out in championship games because, like, he actually, like,
dude, he is. Even
in college, he does what you have to do to win.
Tom, he is. You know who he is. He is what, like, Tim Tebow. The one thing he's better than Tim Tebow, but I'm saying the one thing Tebow can take solace in, what he did gave a guy like that a shot. A guy with winning intangibles, might not have the best like throwing ability, but he's a winner, man, and you can see it. You know what I mean? He has the attitude where your team's like, oh, we can win this game. This dude ain't scared. You know what I mean? That's what he has, winning intangibles, and that shit will win you games. It will. Is he going to break records?
100%, brother.
No, but you know what he will do? If you play a team game, like, he's going to win you a lot of games because he's never going to. It's an aura with quarterbacks. They're your leader. When you believe in your guy, you always think you can win. And you're never like, oh, we ain't got a shot. It's like, oh, he's ready. He ain't scared. We gonna win this game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you want. And Devontae Smith, he's so quiet. You never talk about him. The guy just catches the ball and makes plays. He's just a really good player. I mean.
And I mean, so is AJ Brown.
Oh yeah, he is. But I'm saying AJ's
getting on him because like he does kind of act like a diva, but.
Dude, AJ's. I'm saying AJ, you know.
If he had Tom Brady.
Oh yeah. No, but AJ's
Like,
the guy though. Like everyone knows that. I'm saying Devontae just like kind of is quiet, and you're just like, oh yeah, they got him too, and he catches the ball.
this day though, like dude, Tennessee, hey, we're gonna trade.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
like, what they did with the pick, they picked a receiver that was okay.
Oh my God, he's terrible. Yeah.
Like in college, he didn't do anything.
He was
like
just
AJ
big.
Brown and like Metcalf were ridiculous together at Ole Miss.
No, dude.
Or Travion Burks or whatever. Like he was just a good athlete on a shitty ass team.
He was big and fast. Yeah. No, you're right. Dude,
like, come on, University of Arkansas is not what I call as the juggernaut.
Oh, dude, I just want to
all these wide receivers.
I want to make sure I'm clear though. I'm not saying Mahomes can't be the GOAT, but you guys just wanted to like Nick Wright and all these fucking people. You just want to move them to like the top without him. Look, and you can't take this away either. I want to go back to this time. You'll understand this. Do you guys realize in the middle of their like when they're about to hit their prime to the Patriots? That Aaron Hernandez kind of ruined like their little window of being great. If he wouldn't have went to jail and had that whole thing happen, they would have been winning in the middle. That whole drought. No one brings this up. They would have had him and Gronk for 3 more years.
Until 14. Think about this. The Patriots were thinking of how to get rid of Brady.
Yes, I remember that.
People forget and he had this second run of what? So 14. 16, 17, and 18, where he goes and wins 4 more.
Yep.
And then he proves, hey, I'm going to go to Tampa.
Yep.
And I'm going to do it. And again, it's because he understands the culture. He understands what it takes. He understands the journey to get there. It's just incredible, man.
And Tom knows I like.
But like, dude, no, Mahomes. Honestly, I'm fine with you crushing him. You know what? That team is so well coached, and they have a good defensive coordinator and great defense. Look who they've beaten: Brock Purdy, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And then they got lucky against Jalen Hurts.
Well, I looked at all his Super Bowls. Let's see what you guys aren't doing either. Is the thing I don't like. Tom Brady in losses had games. Like the Philadelphia game, like Tom always says, if the guy don't get in, if Graham, who by the way, got to give him credit, he even made plays in this Super Bowl. That dude is clutch. Okay, I don't care what you say. Graham is.
He has such a dad bod now too. It's amazing.
It's fucking crazy. I love this guy. He's my hero. They're like, we're keeping him on the team because if we make the Super Bowl, no matter how old he is, he's gonna get a sack or something because the dude's just clutch as shit. If he don't do that, everybody knew they were gonna come down the field and win. They were already complete 3 passes on that drive. He was so good in that game. His defense sucked. Nick Foles had a receiving touchdown and threw for 400 yards, 339.
To this day, gotta be one of the most egregious defensive just decisions ever by the Patriots. Let's bench Malcolm Butler.
Oh my God! And I get it. Everyone's gonna be like,
how Matt Patricia still gets coaching jobs.
I don't get it. Yes.
Until Ohio State defensive coordinator. Wait till that team's gonna be trash.
Oh my God! Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Dude, it's like they don't learn. Do you remember when we went to Detroit and all the players hated them? All of them. They were like, yeah, we don't care.
Hey, I'm gonna do the Patriot way.
Oh my God! Yeah,
this ain't the Patriots, bro. This is the awful Detroit Lions.
Dude, it's crazy, bro, and they want to compare them, but I'm like, if you look at all Mahomes Super Bowls, like Tom said, he beat nobody at quarterback, and if you objectively watch those games, he was not good at most of the game. He just had the ball, like they always do. They had in a close game, and he gets the ball at the end. I give him this. He's clutch. He wins the games at the end. 100% give it to him. But it's like you don't count the rest of the game. He threw a terrible pick the last 2, not this year, but last year against San Francisco. That could have flipped that game. But then what happened? 3 and out. Threw the ball 3 times. They got the ball back. They scored. Again, Kansas City's defense kept that game close. But we don't talk about it like that. What I'm saying is Brady, like Tom said, even in the one where you could say he didn't play great, at the very end of the game, I remember, because John Madden was like, hold up, buddy. If I want to kneel the ball here, I wouldn't go for it. He got it right down the field. Got the field goal. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you got to give him that. He did the same thing, but I like how with him, you guys will bring up how he didn't play good. Mahomes hasn't played great. I can argue he has not played great in one Super Bowl.
When you look statistically, in that even 2001, when you look at expected points per play, what I love about it is it doesn't matter about yardage and touchdowns and all that nonsense. It's looking at statistically what should have happened and what did you do,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's a forecast versus like actual sales, right?
Yep.
And it's, since 1999, it's a top 10 performance still.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to get at with like people. Stop looking at the,
Yep.
again, Patrick Mahomes, he threw whatever, 2 touchdowns. Who cares? They were all garbage time touchdowns, and that's where EPA is so good.
Yep.
Because it goes,
that's true.
Yeah, it don't matter. The game's over. And it makes, sure, it helps a little bit, but you made so many egregious plays earlier, and it hurt that score so bad. Like, dude, if you didn't have that junk time stats, you might have the worst performance.
Yep. No, true.
If I could take those out of that data set, and I'm willing to bet he would have one of the worst performances ever.
Seriously.
Think about that. Over Kerry Collins against the 2000 Ravens defense, and when Rich Gannon had to go play his old head coach who knew all the calls.
Yeah. I mean,
think about that.
Well, yeah,
that is insane. And to call Patrick Mahomes has never beaten a real quarterback in a Super Bowl.
No.
That's why he's not the GOAT. Tom Brady's beaten Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan. He's also beaten Ben Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning in the AFC title games, right?
No.
Like who else? So he beat Kurt Warner.
Hey, bring up.
Might not be very good. He was good at that moment in time.
Bring up Flacco too, because Flacco is a demon in the playoffs. He beat him a couple times.
Yep.
He's a demon. You don't want to play him.
I'm trying to. So what they played? So they played the Rams. They played Carolina. He beat Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was an All-Pro quarterback.
Don't forget about NFC, Blake Bortles.
Right?
No, he beat Kurt Warner. He beat him.
Yeah, he beat Russell. So he beat Russell Wilson. He beat Matt Ryan. Jared Goff at the time was actually like a really up and coming quarterback. He beat
Mahomes.
Yeah, he beat Mahomes. Who else did he beat? I'm missing. Because what they played, the Rams. Who did they play in 17? Oh, he lost to Nick Foles. The thing that sucks is he should have never lost that one.
No.
And everybody tries to get on Brady like, oh, you lost to Nick Foles. Dude, Brody needs to get off Nick Foles too, because like, man, that man owns an NFL record for the most passing touchdowns in a game. When Chip, you know what, Josh? Something we should study. The impact Chip Kelly had on the NFL is real.
Yep.
That man was the reason why you start to see this option and all this nonsense, brother.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah, he made everybody. His mentality is what messed him up. His thing where he's like, I gotta monitor your sleep and stuff. But the stuff he did, people were like, hey, that can work. And they were like, we just won't be D-bags like him, and we'll keep our jobs and people like us.
Well, what didn't work well for him is he tried to like push this whole envelope of like as many plays as possible.
Yeah.
What he needed to do is just be the offensive genius he was.
No, 100%. Like I think people did like you said.
Dude, he made Sam Bradford actually look okay.
Yes, I remember that.
Think about that. Like they had dude, it was Sam Bradford, one of the least amounts of uni swag ever as an NFL player.
I had like that weird long jersey that wasn't tough. But with big
the reason why Madden had to create the long jersey was because like the extra long one that Sam Bradford wore.
I know, it's so weird. I was like, wait, you can... I remember, I was like, wait, you can do that? Like, where's this? So funny.
Dude, anyways, like, yeah. I mean, and honestly, for everybody watching, this just shows you how bad that Super Bowl was when we're sitting there, like, going through the GOAT debates and stuff, and we really don't even... And what's sad, too, like, this is how bad it was. But also the thorough beatdown that Philly gave. We aren't even talking about, like, how, like, legitimately... Like Philly's front seven. All right, Zach Bond. Why that man continues to get passed up in the NFL is beyond me.
Yeah, it's wild.
He was good when he was in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I'm going to say shout out because he's another one of those Wisconsin linebackers from the Paul Chryst era that came out and were so good.
Yeah. Tom's right.
But
I just don't.
But like, dude, their front. I mean, I think it's gonna be fascinating. Like Milton Williams and Sweat and all that are free agents, man. They're gonna cost
Money,
you know.
yeah. No,
I think of like the Packers as, hey, I don't know if they'll be in on all of those, but Milton Williams is a guy you're like, hey, did this help our pass rush, right?
Well, I was thinking about that with the Ravens. Maybe Sweat, get him in there because I like Oway, but he's inconsistent. If you get him, I mean,
those guys are going to cost pretty pennies. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious if we'll do off-season stuff as we maybe after the combine because that's when you start getting the real rumors. But like you hear the Myles Garrett trade. Like I think what teams are going to do because they're going to wait till late.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of other pass rushers and trades. Like there's a Max Crosby trade and contract sign he's probably going to want to wait for. But I don't think Cleveland's going to get 2 first-rounders for him. But honestly, I could see the Ravens getting involved in that trade. But I just don't know. Cleveland is never going to do that.
I don't think so either. I think Ravens fans be delusional sometimes. Like, bro, why would they give them to your rival?
Well, even like, dude, the Packers ain't going to make that trade because the toughest thing for them is Green Bay values their draft picks like they're, like they're gold. And they are because you got to, you think what they've just built proves to you, hey, draft picks matter. When you can draft well and you can develop, you can build the youth base.
I think the Buffalo makes sense just because James Cook needs a contract.
I don't know if they got the cap space.
True,
like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you trade for him, you have to sign to an extension.
Yeah, true.
And Green Bay has a lot of cap space, and honestly, I don't know. Like I was talking to my friend.
Tom, I figured it out. Tom.
Is it a Reggie White signing? I don't know.
Tom, you know who?
I don't think.
You know who should get him? Washington's got the money. I mean.
Yeah, I think that's a team that's legitimate because I think they realize, dude, because in the NFC East too, it's every other year. You just never know who wins it.
Yep.
And why not?
Hey, that might work. They got the money too, man. They could pull that off.
Yeah. Green Bay's too set in their ways. I think they'll be in it because they're going to say, hey, we'll offer you a 1 and a 3.
That or do the Raiders go and try to put 2 edges because they got the money, they could sign Crosby and then put him on the other side, which would be kind of crazy.
Nah, I don't think the Raiders.
No?
Raiders are gonna try to get more assets because they got to get young.
They need a quarterback. They're
going to trade Crosby. That is a legitimate thing that's going to happen.
Okay. They need a quarterback. They need a quarterback anyway. They're in deep trouble.
That's just it. I think the best thing that they can do. See, I hope they don't get in the Sam Darnold bidding war.
Nah, you don't want that.
Here's another thing too with Aaron Rodgers being kicked out of New York. He still quote unquote wants to play. Is someone going to be number one? I just think the interesting thing is Aaron Rodgers going to be willing to suck up his pride and play for $10 million a year? Let's start there. He's only going to get a 1-year deal, but
hey man, hey, we do know he'll be on the Pat McAfee show, guys. Okay.
That's the funniest thing is the Jets said you can't be on that show, and it's you wonder why Green Bay got rid of him.
Right.
Just saying, he's a freaking.
I do like that. Aaron Glenn was like, "Listen, bud, nah, we ain't doing this."
I mean, I wouldn't. He's a fucking turd, but.
Well, not only that, did you see all the teams funny had the billboards we don't want him. Forget. Yeah. Did you just Sean Elliott? That was hilarious. Deshaun Elliott was send him back to the retirement home. We don't want him.
He's a cancer, man. So, anyways, yeah, it'll just be fascinating. That's all I can say.
Did you want to talk about the Hall of Fame stuff now? Because I don't think we did last show. I don't believe so.
Yeah, we can do it real quick, and then that's a good thing to end on because the Super Bowl was trash.
It was bad. Okay, Tom, what do you think about the guys that got?
The halftime show was great with all the symbolism and basically crapping on Drake.
Well, how about my boy Samuel L. though? He was kind of dope. I was like, yo, they got Samuel L. in the fucking. It's Uncle Sam, bitch.
I love when they talk about the A minor nonsense and to get on Drake with the minors, and then they bring Serena Williams out there to crip walk.
I know. Well, how about that? How about his chain? It was A minor. That's pretty funny.
I know, dude. It was it wasn't a great show in terms of show.
Well, I want to give him credit though. He did sing really well. It wasn't it didn't sound sometimes sometimes they'll be on the mic and their voice sounds completely different. Some entertainers he did good. He was kicking.
Oh, yeah. I thought the music is great. He's just not he's not a big dancer. It's kind of like Rihanna, right? Rihanna ain't a dancer. She is a singer.
No, he did.
And she's really good. And like Kendrick's the same thing. He's an artist when it comes to the form of like music and like the themes within like what he's doing in the show. But man, he ain't no dancer. Let's just get
he ain't. No, Prince. I still think is the best one. That was wild because the rain was just too hilarious. That purple rain comes on his motherfuckers on top of the scoreboard with a purple guitar. I'm like, get the fuck out.
Order of Malfunction was my favorite one.
Oh god.
I was like, wait, that was a titty?
Nah. That one was man. You know that one wasn't good. You remember the titty more than you remember the Malfunction more than you remember what the hell they were singing.
Oh, I know. Dude, you ain't lying. That was terrible.
Dude, but what did you think of the Hall of Fame guys who they picked?
Oh, man. Dude, number one, I'm glad like Eli didn't get in first ballot.
I agree.
I am so happy for Sterling Sharp.
Me too.
Because
deserved it. I mean, he deserved it.
Well, and like, if you go listen to Shannon Sharp's tribute, like when he got to tell him, what I love is like Shannon. This is why I always love listening to Shannon Sharp. He's not arrogant.
No.
And he he told, he talks about his brother like, dude, we didn't have a dad. You led the way for me.
Yeah. No,
and you're the one that made my path easy so I could become a Hall of Famer. Yep. That's why you should be. And he's like, and everyone recognizes, dude, go watch him with Favre when Favre was coming up, dude. If Favre had him longer, dude.
Well, dude, he would have had him. He would have had.
He would have, I think, still some of the.
Tom, he won 3 MVPs. He won 3 MVPs in the time without him. Dude, if he would have had him, they would have won at least 2 Super Bowls there, not just one. Just those two.
Think about this though, too, right? He was like competing, like him and Rice were the only 2 like legitimate players at wide receiver that era.
No, really.
Where they're just ridiculous.
Dude, he was something.
Like putting up the numbers that people put up now.
No, bro, he was.
I'm really happy for Mike Holmgren, like we were talking about earlier.
He deserved it too, yeah.
Dude, Bill Walsh's disciple.
Favorite line from Mike Holmgren: No more rocket balls. Yeah.
Dude, he was just like, what I love about Mike Holmgren was he was a big he's just like, again, he created 2 cultures. He's a Bill Walsh disciple, and just you can't it's incredible, right? He's had an incredible run, and he deserves it. I'm really happy Eli didn't make it, because I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. Dude, he's an incredible quarterback, but dude, you're like,
Tom's nice.
Stop watering this down with like.
Tom's nice. The only legit argument I'll give everybody is Joe Namath's in the Hall of Fame, so he should be. Just because
Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame for one thing, and one thing only. He said something.
But no, by the way, this is what I don't like about the New York bias in American sports. It's ridiculous because the criteria is way less for anyone that plays for their teams. Like Joe Namath, go watch that Super Bowl too. He wasn't even the best player in that game. He won MVP because he said something. The running back, Schnell, was the best player in that game. He's the reason they beat the Colts, not Joe Namath was terrible. And their defense. He was terrible in that game. Look up for anyone that's giving me crap, I don't care what era it is, look up his stats. He was awful. The guy was awful. He was throwing like 40% and every year and throwing like 20 picks. And he had 1 year. No, every year he had more picks than touchdowns. And you put him in the Hall of Fame. That's insane. That's it. So you can't do that. You can't be like one wrong, and then it's like, well, that makes everything else better. Tom's nice. I think Eli was an okay quarterback, and I'm going to make this argument right now. If you put him in, you should put Joe Flacco in, because Joe Flacco has a better playoff run, and he did the same thing Eli did. He has terrible regular season.
Alex Smith, like you think in 2007, their team got on a roll.
The defense won that game,
so
dude.
Good.
Yeah.
But they beat Matt Ryan, right? Or no. Yeah, they did. They beat Matt Ryan. They beat at home. They beat the Falcons.
Yep, beat the Falcons.
Then they had to play.
They beat Green Bay because they got the hit. Yeah, they got
Yeah,
Favre,
so
Favre in the
the
championship
Favre,
game.
but they
Yeah.
beat, Romo was young, but the Cowboys were just like, they were just hot.
Yeah.
They were still the Cowboys. So,
Yeah.
but like that championship was awesome. But again, to your point, it was the defense. Tom Brady had it won, and somehow, one of the luckier plays you'll ever see in Super
Yeah,
Bowl
are we gonna
history
act like? Are
happened.
we gonna act like that he made that play? Like, come on, bro, it was luck. Get the fuck.
Hey, I mean, I gotta give him this. He kept his legs churning and got a ball out and made something happen. You can't argue with that. It wasn't pretty.
And I like Rodney. I like Rodney
I think
Harrison, but if he would have just did what he does normally and just drilled him, that ball is not getting caught. I don't know what he was doing on that play. He like grabbed him and gently put him on the ground. I don't know what was going on there.
I think the 2011 Eli Manning was way better because he did make some legitimate.
Oh yeah, that Manningham throw was great. Yeah, that Manning and the catch, both of them. That was just a good play. I mean, I give him that.
But I will. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's not in there. I hope.
And I want to make this clear too. I like his personality. That is not why I don't want to put Eli in. I love him. He's funny as hell. His little goofy ass. I love him. Kick of destiny, baby. What a legend. I love Eli.
Gronk can't even do that.
Eli's literally that's what I love about Eli. I know Eli would be happy if he made the Hall of Fame, but I also can tell Eli's just like, whatever. I mean,
well,
he's hilarious.
He has an NFL legacy. He's part of a family.
Yes.
But like at the end of the day, he's like Phil Simms.
Yeah. No. 100%.
And it's okay. That's like okay, and that needs to be the NFL. That needs to be the Hall of Fame standard. It's like I actually think it's okay that Terrell Davis made it in because as a postseason running back,
he's still the best.
The shit he
still the best. Probably 130 a game.
Like Saquon Barkley finally passed him. Like think about how long it's been.
Well, think about Tom. Do you remember?
His career was just short-lived. It's the same as Sterling, but like his impact was undeniable.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about how John Elway in the first one they won against Atlanta, I believe. Green Bay. He was terrible. John Elway was terrible in that game. He's like 170.
Honestly, he was. Yeah. No, and they realized, hey, we gotta use this horse.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? If he didn't have Terrell Davis, they were about to get blown out again. It was about to be because John Elway's another guy. I love him, but like the Washington Super Bowl, y'all do know they were up 10-0, and he go read that stat line. Jesus Christ, that was the worst game I've ever read a quarterback play in the Super Bowl. It was terrible. The Washington beat the hell out of him. My God, he was awful in that game. But all I hear about is how the defense played. Bro, you were up. You didn't do anything. You threw 3 picks. Wonder why they lost.
No. Ace. No. Sorry, my dog's jumping on me.
Ace, the hopeful, please.
Anyways, yeah, they. I'm happy.
I just agree.
This year, I'm happy with the Hall of Fame class.
I do too. I like them.
And I do think like the NFL has gotten better over time. There's still some of them that like.
Being a Ravens fan, what did you think about Yonda and Suggs? Because I was like, I don't know. What do you think about that?
They didn't make it in, right?
Right, no. I thought Yonda should have made it first ballot.
Suggs needs to get in.
Yeah, I think
he was
a
true. When you think of that defense in the 2000s, he was a big reason why it was so successful.
Yes, I agree.
And he was a game changer for the Ravens. He had a lot of the game-changing plays.
Oh, dude, he used to get bent hell.
Between him and Reed, like Ray Lewis was the captain. He controlled everything. But man, like Suggs is so unique, and teams are scared of him. Yonda, like the thing is, he was really good, but like I don't. It's so tough. There's so many good guards in the NFL sometimes, and I don't know, but like it's tough.
Dude, I'll give you a
guard in the NFL. You have to do a lot of solo blocking against guys.
I'll give you a guy that's not going to make it for the Ravens that I think is actually deserving. Just if you watched him play, I think Tom knows where I'm going. He ain't gonna make it because his stats aren't good. They're not gonna give it to him because he didn't get a lot of sacks. But Nada's impact on the game was crazy. Like if you wanted to put a guy, he played Hall of Fame level for long enough too. He just don't have stats. He don't. They're not gonna give it to him. He wasn't Aaron Donald. He didn't get like 40 sacks. But you could not run on the Ravens when he was there, and he would make plays, strip sacks when you needed them. Could catch.
He's a big reason why Suggs even continued. I mean, he was drafted a little later because Suggs was drafted in 2003.
Yeah, Nada was drafted in 11, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, I thought Nada was 2006, 7, something like that.
I thought
He
it
played
was.
a long time.
Yeah, he was really good. I loved him.
Oh yeah, no, I mean no. The Pittsburgh Steelers will tell you that was a guy they knew would wreck the game if you didn't block him up.
Yeah, you had.
It wasn't Suggs. They knew Suggs was good and that good, and he was gonna get what he got. But like, dude, there's games are just not just dominated.
He did. He was
And
great, man.
You couldn't run up the middle and pass rush. You get so much pressure up the middle that allowed the other guys to eat, like the Dallas Thomases. I'm pretty sure, man, they had Nada in like 2006.
You might be right.
But
I thought it was
he's played a long time, man.
I love that guy. I loved him.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the Hall of Fame class.
No, me either.
And honestly, when I look back the past few years, they've gotten a lot of them right. You know what? There was a lot of really good wide receivers in the 2000s.
Dude.
And that's when
Quarterbacks.
teams like the West Coast offense really picked up. And you think about
if you have a wide receiver that you like to, he's probably going to make it, and it's just going to take a while. Hines Ward made it. It just takes a while because, like Tom said, it's backlogged. There's so many good receivers. Like Steve Smith's going to make it eventually.
Dude, the 2000s had a lot of good wide receivers. See, now it's kind of went the other way. There's only like a couple receivers, like I said, in this era right now. Jamar Chase, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, maybe. I don't know if he's going to get the stats, but, like, there's nobody else.
No.
Like, DeAndre Hopkins, no. I wouldn't put him in there. He's okay. He played on a lot of shitty teams, but, was he, like, this difference maker? No.
Well, no, dude. Not only that, he's going to have to wait. No matter what, you're going to wait for a while because we have people that still aren't in. Like, Steve Smith's going to make it. I'm almost sure just because of the way he played in the playoffs. Bolden's going to make it probably because he was really clutch, and he has good stats.
He's one that needs to go in.
I agree. I loved him. So clutch, man. Bolden was the guy. He was the guy.
Yeah, man. The NFL's got it right. I'm glad they've limited the class size, too, because I think it was just getting ridiculous. I mean, they're trying to but I'm also glad that they're, like, paying homage to, like,
and the quarterback things.
You're getting these Sterling Sharps. You got Jerry Kramer in. That's probably one of the biggest crimes
the
of
quarterback,
Hall of Fame ever.
The quarterback thing's going to be, like, always controversial. Like, I mean, the Eli thing, I thought he was going to get in, so I'm surprised he didn't. I don't have a problem with it, though. I mean, it is what it is. The QB thing's always different. They have a different criteria. It's weird. But, it is what it is. I mean, I thought they did a good job, too. They usually do. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tom. Everything you just said, too, the receivers are kind of like, there's only a certain amount now that it's starting to get watered down enough where you're only going to put a few guys in because it's like all of them have decent stats, but it's the great players that you can tell. Like Tom said, LSU, draft them from there. Right. Christ, they're all good.
Dude, think of even like a guy like Jordy Nelson, how good he is.
Yeah.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
Right, like he's not going to get in, and you think of even in like that, or like after 2010, you started to see like, hey, teams that really wanted, the game became more about matchups.
Yeah.
So like, and I mean like, you could even like a Demaryius Thomas. I think he's even questionable because it's like you played on like this crazy offense. But, like, he had 1,000-yard years afterwards and stuff. Yep. He was really good. But, like, that's just the norm. Like, you gotta be, like, almost his go-to weapon that's, like, a catch monster.
Yep.
Like, a Devontae Adams, that's a guy
Hall of Famer, yeah.
I'm really curious about. He's the one that I'm curious about. Like, I think if he won a Super Bowl.
True.
He might be one that deserves, but like honestly, if you go look at his stats, I'm not really sure where he ranks all time because it's like it's weird because like the NFL is just so weird now. Like back in the day when you drafted a dude, they played right away and they honestly just made like Fitzgerald. Remember even like Roy Williams? Like Roy Williams made an impact like day one.
Yeah, it's true.
Same with like Bolden. Like now,
dude, remember Bolden had that first game where he had like freaking 200 yards.
Him versus Roy Williams. It was ridiculous. So. But I think that's where we're going to end it.
No, and I just want to bring up Bolden one more time. That is the thing. Like I was talking to my friend, mutual friend Scott yesterday. I was like, the thing with football is when you do the scouting for receivers too, you got to stop looking at just speed because the main thing you got to look at can they catch. Because what you can do with a guy that can catch, you can find a way to get him passes. Speed's not going to help you if you can't catch. It really ain't. You got to be able to catch the ball. Anquan Bolden was not fast, but goddamn, he was tough and could catch, and that'll get you far. Puka Nakua, the guy can catch. That's all you gotta do, man.
Right,
But we'll go look into like draft stuff, and we'll come back and talk. Maybe I don't know. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll take a week off. We'll figure it out. We'll be back though, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Likes as always are appreciated, and subscribe for more of our content. And what a great season! Your 2025, well 24, right? Champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, 40-22. Thank you guys.
I shudder at that one. Dang,
Tom,
Philly.
The
city of Philly did not deserve that win, but whatever.
And as always, Tom.
Roll Tide, anchor down.
Anchor down.